Welcome to the 2021 Heart of America Athletic Conference Men's Soccer Media Day. I'm Erik Bergrud, color commentator for the Kansas City Comets of the Major Arena Soccer League. Today, we are joined by Mount Mercy head coach Amir Hadzic. Coach, how are you doing today?
Doing great, considering that we finally have nice weather. Last week was a little bit hot and humid, for my taste, but this week is going well. Kids are arriving, not at the same time, obviously, with lots of international students, but so far, so good.
So, like other coaches in the Heart, you had to adapt last year to COVID and the changes in the schedule and the changes in the protocol. What are you telling your returning players and your new players what to expect in the 2021 season?
Yeah, in addition to those tough conditions, obviously, COVID changed everybody's outlook on a season. I'm really happy and proud that our conference actually went through it through thick and thin. There were teams who were quarantined and games rescheduled, and we needed to play our last game, of the regular season in the spring at Graceland and secure the playoff spot, at that game. In addition, we had some other issues, that other schools didn't experience. Cedar Rapids as a city, we had this weather event they called derecho, which is a kind of inland hurricane. We had 130 miles per hour winds for hour 15 that devastated city, and that happened on 10th of August last year. So as a result, our school moved the start day for a little bit later. Kids couldn't move in on campus, till late August, and we started practices literally on September 1st or 2nd after COVID tests, and first game was, right away, September 12th or so. So we really didn't have a preseason. So with that in mind, this year looks much more normal for us. I know that another COVID variant is around, but lots of our guys, big majority of the team is vaccinated. So we feel that we are positioning ourselves a little bit better with the regular preseason players we are bringing in and the returning core of players that we are bringing in as well.
In the midst of everything that happened last year, something special happened at Mount Mercy when the institution named its soccer field in your honor. What did that mean to you personally, but as well as the commitment you've made over the years to your institution?
Yeah, when I started this, I played professionally, obviously, in former Yugoslavia. And when war kind of erupted there, I moved to Croatia and played in Croatian first division. Before I came here in late 20s. Mount Mercy offered me opportunity to coach. I thought I would still play, but after failed attempt to go in MLS because my name was not famous to attract fans to come to the games, I decided to start coaching. And little I knew that I would stay here for 25 years, and over the years we touched a lots of lives, I guess. I'm inducted in the Hall of Fame for high school soccer as well, and and we won many championships, went to national tournaments. But for me as a coach, the most important part is that 22 of my former players became head coaches across the nation in the United States. And that's kind of, if I had 1% of influence on them to stay in soccer, give back to their communities, I would be the happiest coach in the world. So obviously none of us do this, to have a name recognition on the stadium. Obviously I didn't do it for that. But I'm really happy that school recognized that. And I see this as recognition of soccer as a sport too, because not too many stadiums are named after soccer people, So I really took that more kind of like, okay, they recognize soccer as a very important part of this university and community. And I'm very proud of that and humbled, obviously, as well.
So before I ask you questions about this fall, another Heart coach, and I won't mention who it was, asked me to ask you about your left foot. What would we have seen in terms of you as a player at facing shots with a killer left foot?
Well, I used to, I played usually left midfield, or I played on a left wing, and I could really hit the ball with accuracy on 50 yards and cross in any kind of position and full speed and everything else. But I also like to take shots, and was always funny stories when I was a young player and I was pulled to our professional team in FC Sarajevo, and I started practicing with these old timers, and on a shooting practice, we had a goalkeeper who was extremely competitive, and he would, each time when we were shooting, I would kind of curve the ball or put it somewhere, and he was really not happy about it. I remember at one moment, I scored a goal and I was picking up ball from the net, and he grabbed me and he said, "A little one, if you hit one more like that, I will break your legs there." You know how it is with soccer guys. So I always kind of cherished that. When I came here, I came towards the end of a career, obviously. War in Bosnia, where I'm from, in Sarajevo, we were caught under siege for 3.5 years. Abruptly stopped my career, and my best soccer years were actually wasted in that effort. But we still, during the war, went, in a soccer field that was 50 yards from front line, and we would walk 5 miles, play, the guy with the sniper will shoot at us. We would crawl in one of those little channels, like drenches that they build around soccer stadiums. And I would come home and I would say, wow, I risked my life to play soccer. How else can you describe it but really pure love for the game? And you know that as well, being involved in soccer for so long. So yeah, playing days were great, but I still try, whenever I have a chance, to work with goalies or do something or play keep away with my guys. And I'm just blessed that I could still do it after all these years.
So let's talk about your guys. How excited are they to get back on the field and look forward to hopefully a more normal fall season?
Oh, they are very excited. We obviously, with not having preseason, but part of the season moving to the spring actually helped us out, because we, for the first time in a long time, have a really meaningful spring season in which we fully practiced and played in a regular conference games and also in a conference tournament. I think, that being together for a long time was really helpful for us. In addition, we have about 7 guys who played in USL 1 and 2 leagues across the nation, and that's our main core. And I was very happy that they continued playing throughout the summer. So all those guys are back. We really didn't lose. We lose one senior who was really on our JV team. So all that core is back. Our goal was to bring 9-10 guys. We overworked that and brought over 20 players with some very talented players. So, now it's kind of that mix of experience kind of returners and really exciting new group. Our issues in the past were, in which we would start well, be on the top of the table, but we were never deep enough, I think, to compete in the heart. As you know, we had often 6 teams ranked in the top 25, and it's top-notch conference, So we would always kind of fade towards the end of the season just because of 3-4 injuries. We didn't have depth to actually sustain that level. I think with this new group and returners, we are positioning ourselves pretty nicely. We never failed to make a playoff since we joined the conference, but I think our aspirations and goals are a little bit higher this year just because of the competition and numbers that we are bringing in, and quality players as well.
So when you start getting into the conference and games against tough teams, as you said, nationally ranked teams, what should we expect out of your team on the pitch throughout the fall?
Yeah, I think, we nicely developed a style, our style of play, maybe adopted a couple of formations that really work well with the personnel we have in the team. And I think now everybody is familiar with how we want to play and what kind of style. I think in the past, just due to not having depth and maybe not as quality players as some other teams, we always adapted kind of or played the way the other teams did. It was kind of always adjustment. Okay, we play tougher team. Should we play a little bit more defensive, or should we? How we'll transition offensively? But right now, with the style that we have, I think we could maintain that. And even if we sub, 2-3 players or have some kind of healthy rotation during the week, I think we will be much more potent. And our goals obviously are a little bit higher. I hope, we will place in the top half of the conference, and hopefully, host first playoff game, because that would put us in good position, maybe with another win to qualify for national tournament, which is our goal. We haven't been there for the last 5 years, so I think we are itching kind of to go back on a national stage.
Well, as you know, Coach, within your conference, you have two teams that have won combined the last three national championships, and there's no easy win, no matter whether you're playing at home or on the road. What is it going to take for this team, your team, to reach their goals in such a tough conference this season?
I think, starting conference well and playing maybe non-conference matches that will prepare us, kind of polish what kind of lineup we want to have, and stuff like that. Our first couple of games are, on the road at Grandview, which is traditionally our big rival from former conference and now as well. And that's always tough place to play. And then following game is right away Central Methodist, who was until recently two-time defending national champion, So, those two games will probably give us a clear picture where are we at and what we need to work on. I think sometimes, we used to start well, but ended up kind of in a little slide, so we will try to avoid that. Last year we were good until we had the COVID cases and we literally quarantined for a couple of weeks and we lost subsequently two following games, and that really put us in a position to fight just for a playoff spot. So I'm hoping, we will continue with our style. Players are now familiar with it. We recruited players for positions that we really needed, in our kind of vision of a team. And I think just being consistent and taking one game at a time, as you mentioned, it's really tough. There's no easy game really in this conference. So we'll kind of take that approach.
So what would you like fans across the Hart Conference to know about your team and your soccer philosophy?
Well, obviously we talk about my playing career, so I don't like to call myself player's coach, but I obviously, each issue we have in the team or each player I'm dealing with, I'm coming from their perspective. I always put myself in their shoes, and I was player for a long time, to try to understand and create the atmosphere in which we trust each other. Sometimes we look each other in the eyes and we know what's going on. I like to develop that kind of relationship, with our players. So with that in mind, we have really that good group, with that. And we will try to be consistent and try to mix things up. And maybe this is the year that we will finally, in the heart of America, change a little bit standards as our former conference teams, Grandview or William Penn, did in the last couple of years.
Sounds like you're excited for the fall. I'm excited for the fall too. Coach Hadzic, thank you so much for joining us today and good luck this season.
Thank you so much, Erik. I'm really happy we are doing this and promoting our wonderful league and our wonderful conference.